good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing? This is we've been trying to do this for the last 2 days. Yesterday, terrible day, terrible day. Nothing worked. Everything was like bad. I mean, in the evening, I was sleepy. The coordination between me and the live stream guys, went way bad. I set up the show there, and by 9 o'clock, I'm supposed to start the show. And I sincerely apologize to people who came there. There were 7 viewers. I need to migrate those viewers from live stream to Ustream or One Live, whichever they are comfortable with. Um, that is one problem. And then the next problem was I was damn sleepy. I woke up very early. I didn't sleep much the night before, and I'm darn sleepy. That's what happened. I fell asleep. Then I sat here, and started writing things and fell asleep. I didn't write a whole lot today, but I wrote yesterday something. When I read that out, you will understand what exactly gone wrong, because it just doesn't make any sense to me right now. What is going on? Said all that. Here is the situation. This is a poem. I'm going to read a poem here. That's what I'm recording. Before that, I'm going to show you a brief idea about what these things are going to actually. I'm doing here. Briefly, I will have to bring it down. I think my speaker went completely bizarre. Hooked up with this. I will show you this. See, me and my 3 pens are sitting there. Okay, this wood pen is the oldest one. I mean, it's a very old pen. I bought it from somebody, and this is the grand old. And this one I bought it from Amazon, I think. It's a very decent pen, and this is a gift from my brother in India. So there's a whole lot of thing going on there, and let me put this thing back. And I'm back here. See, so I just want to briefly show you that. Um, this particular poem is called Whatever. I wrote this poem based on some of the very different things that goes on. I talked to very many young people about this poem before I even wrote this. I had this idea in my mind, but I thought, okay, I may have to really understand what is going on. So that's what I asked people the specific questions about what do they think about happened in the 60s and 70s. And those are the people you could call, there are a lot of media, if you go to TV, CNN or news media and other places, you can hear them called as millennials. People who are really like 15, 16 years old, kids, who hang out in the mall, because I used to work in a mall, at least near a mall. That helped me to actually communicate with these folks. When I actually talk to them, I ask them these questions, what is your thoughts about, say, the great 60s, where everything, the first generation of the so-called, the people who came right after the Second World War. So the that generation, the first generation came out, the next generation, I wouldn't call them anything else other than the first generation after the war. And the second generation came out, that's my generation. So we that's those are the people, their opinions about the people. What did we achieve? What did we? It was supposed to be. Everybody's generation is the greatest generation for them. See, when you look at it, it's like one guy once told me, even the crow thinks her baby is the golden baby. I don't know how you say that, So, in the same way, you see, people who lived in the 60s are born and brought up in the 60s, they say, we are the best. People who are born and brought up in the 70s, they say we are the best. Because I was born in 1970 and I grew up in the 1970s. We actually were very innovative at that time, because in where I was, at least in India, we didn't have any TVs. We didn't have any video games or anything of that sort. It is very fascinating. Me and my cousins, during our summer vacations, we used to be very innovative. We actually do things and we look at things, even a small picture. My brothers and we actually make things, even though it is not the perfect of it, but we actually at least we were able to adapt things in our for our use. Like once my mother actually kicked us out and said, okay, she took all the balls away from us, because I jumped down from the top of our house. That's about 30 feet down. And nothing happened to me, and I just walked away. So it was directly in front of where I landed. And she said, no, 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 you're not going upstairs, and you are give us the balls, and there is no ball. So we were just sitting there, doing nothing. So we actually were looking at this you know, ladies who are sitting there and making this thatching material, which is made from a coconut, palm. The coconut palm's leaf, they actually they braid this in such a way that it can be used as a thatching material. So we were actually watching them. When we were looking at them doing this, me and my cousin, I said, okay, can we make it round, 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 round? And my cousin figured out, he figured out, okay, this you can make it round, 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 round. So if you go round, you take out the stick from the leaf, then you can make it into a ball. So we made it enough in such a way that it is even though it is not a perfect round ball, but it is a ball with which we started playing. So you see, we were that kind of people. We had plenty of time. We flying kites and playing seven tides. I wrote in a poem. So, but when it came to the 80s, the generation that came, I cannot say the generation came from us. There is the aftermath of our generation that came out. The younger ones. There was TV. There were a lot of what do you say, gaming devices and all those things came into the scenario, arcade games. Even we ourselves, were completely fell into that. This poem is something connected to, what did we achieve in those times and what is the relevance of all those things we thought we achieved at this point of time. That's what this poem is about. So I hope this is not a simple or easy poem to even understand and like. Not a lot of people on my Facebook or Twitter or my blog like this poem. So this is not a very favorited poem. So, but still, it is a poem I liked a lot because I spent some time doing the research before I start writing the poem. So here it is. Once I read the poem, you will understand it better. I will be able to say something more about the poem after that. Okay, here we go. The poem is called Whatever. People like you and I lay dead in huge piles. World War ended, horrors buried, history written. The era of the baby boomers had begun. East and West froze in relationships of Cold War. Space race, weapons race, competition moved through industries, culture, and character. Proxy wars, boundaries redefined, lives torn apart. Gladness redefined, sadness hidden in artificial stimulants. The stimulating 50s, the raging 50s, the breathtaking 70s. The competitors redefined freedom beyond imaginations. With those imaginations, a generation birthed. The generation that never asked but answered. The age of the innovators began with no roar. The industry in innovation revolutionized. Space stations, Mars missions, Hubble, the frozen worlds melted. World Wide Web birthed. Hackers, crackers, computer viruses, and deadly viruses. Greatest movies ever made, best music ever written. 80s and 90s, the innovators never ruled. The new millennium, a new century with no promises sprouted. We call them slackers, gamers, junkies, and time eaters, frowning onlookers, uninterested passers-by. They read not, they listen not, they dream not. Life they live with a video game, we accuse. Taking eyes off a gadget, one asked me, what did your father's competition give you? Cold War, hot war, trillions spent on unnecessary causes. when millions died of hunger and pain, unheard of competitions. And the innovators you call yourself, what did you give us after the mighty competitions? Polluted waters, toxic grounds, warming planet, depleting fish stocks and eradicated forests. What have you innovated to end hatred between people, or terrorism and unending wars to end terror with terror, and built upon the foundations of the forefathers a system that scavenges upon the needy, the fallen, a system that eats our flesh, drinks our blood, bathes in our sweats, and barks at our conscience when crooked debts piled up, and when neck deep in the whirlpool, leave us bare naked in public. The very system of privilege that binds us forever under their feet. Why didn't your fathers competed for peace? Why didn't you innovated for peace, love and harmony? The boy stopped, and with the corner of my lips I smiled. He started at me as if I'm a man of a mighty crime. Looking at some so-called slackers, he said, so they are taking a deep breath away from it all. Flashes of all the life I know passed in my mind's eyes. And when about to reply, the boy walked, saying, whatever. There it is, the poem. So I was actually saying, this baby boomers, and then came the boomers after the baby boomers. Everybody came, and it just didn't make any sense to me. So right now, a generation that is in front of us, when we talk to them, I I feel really, really, really bad, for them, because we didn't give them. We were saying we are fighting to provide a better future for our children and our children's children. You know what? It will take about 5 to 6 generations from us of clean living in absolute peace to clean up the mess. The so-called baby boomers and the innovators and the people that came in the 90s, they were born in the 90s. Even if we start working right now, cleaning up right now, it will take 5 generations from here on to fix all that problems. And I'm telling you, okay, I know this because that's how messy this situation is. One second. This situation is way beyond our control. Politicians divided us. Prior to that, monarchs divided us. Then the politicians now, it's not just dividing us, they are making us fight. They are making us fight in such a way that only a handful of people will benefit from it all. They said globalizations, we are bringing the, WTO and globalization, it is going to make the world a better place for everyone. Unbelievably not. Because what happened? The globalization completely eradicated all kind of, all kind of things that benefited humanity or the people or the common man. Now what happened was the money actually got globalized. They said globalized only in the hands of the some people. They actually went from one place to another place. This is what happened. This is what they did. People who are living in the street, a person who is sitting in the side of the street with a dog, to actually a guide dog, sitting there, asking for money. He don't care, what is a globalization is. Okay, he care about that very food he can eat. So if we cannot provide those people, that happened. I didn't really write in the poem, but that happened when one person. We are not even able to provide for that person's, welfare. Where he is just sitting there with a shabby clothes with a dog right beside him. There was a dog. I have to say that. That's the only thing that he cares about that person is that dog. So we were not able to even provide that. See, we as a nation and as a generation have the responsibility to provide for the health and shelter and clothing. These are the fundamental rights of a human being. If we cannot provide these things, these fundamental rights to ourselves, then we are a lost cause. And we are. And that's what exactly I'm seeing in front of me. And this is a poem I wrote, and I know not a lot of people either I didn't explain it enough in the poem, or they didn't understand it, or they just plain ignored it, saying that, okay, screw you. Who are you to tell me how I should live my life? No, it is a responsibility of artists, musicians, poets, and movie makers, television show makers. It is their responsibility to bring these kind of things into the forefront of debates, where we need to actually make sure that we have a power. We live in a democracy. We should not allow politicians or weasels who are calling themselves politicians to dictate things to us. No, we should make a policy, and we should make that representation of ours meaningful. And we still have that opportunity. We do. We still have the opportunity to make peace. We do have that. Because when Barack Obama, when he was about to get elected to be president, I think he got elected to be a president, and immediately he got a Nobel Prize. And when he got the Nobel Prize, my expectation was he's going to bring in all the parties of the world who are holding nuclear weapons. That was my hope. That it was a long shot hope, but it was a hope, which I spoke about. I think bring it all together. Bring Russia, China, India, Pakistan, France, Britain, all of these countries. Then there were these rogue nations like Iran and North Korea, and then the undeclared nuclear power, Israel. Bring all of these people together. Bring all of them together and say, how can we bring peace? By destroying these nuclear weapons, we will assure 100% peace. How can we avoid war altogether? How can we bring into an environment where we are not having a preemptive strike against anything? We are finding the terror, the moment it originates in one place, that place is going to take care of that business. We need to have a new systematic approach in that. That's what I expected from Obama, to bring that peace. And he just didn't do it. And that's something which I am really, really angry about when it comes to Obama. I'm not angry, means I'm not shouting at him. He done a lot of great things. 120%, I will give him as the greatest president in one of the in the history of mankind. That's what I would say. However, he failed in certain areas. One of them is this peace process. Right now, there is a peace process when everybody is saying Iran, they should not make nuclear weapons. They should do this, that, we are going to sanction them, we are going to bomb them. Some people say we need to use tactical nuclear weapons and take the nuclear materials out. Lot of things are said, and lot of things are actually done right now in that process. But however, did anybody was saying, okay, right now we are in an agreement that Iran will postpone all their activities for 10 years or something like that. I don't know the nitty bits of that thing. Nobody knows. But isn't this a good opportunity for us to actually tell both Iran, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and all these people who don't like each other, who don't talk to each other? Why don't if United States, who haven't talked to Iran for 30 years, can talk to Iran? Why don't you guys come and talk to Iran? We should ask Iran, what will it take for you to recognize Israel? What are the things that's stopping you from doing it? Let's work on that and make a peace. What is stopping anybody from doing it? Obama had nothing to lose from here to till the end of his this thing. He's going to be another year and a half. He's going to stay in this thing. Why don't he give it a shot? Let him fail. I would love to see him try and fail, then do nothing, but just sit there and enjoy the roses in the rose garden. Well, this poem had gone through, when I was writing it, gone through multiple debates with multiple people. This is a result of it. There may be more poems like this coming up. I hope, it is a different direction I myself as a poet takes. And I'm actually, some people told me, one girl, Sam Nolte. I'm going to tell her name right now. Sam Nolte came to my Facebook, to my blog, and said, "As you proclaimed yourself as a poet," and I said, I'm not proclaiming myself as a poet, okay." Then she came and said, "No, no, exactly." She apologized and all that. No, she don't need to apologize, because at that time, I needed to proclaim myself as a poet. Right now, I am a poet. I have a voice, and that voice is this: we need to find ways to make peace. We need to. It doesn't matter how. To make peace, we need to find ways. And this generation, our generation, I am 45 years old, people who are, 45 years old should find ways to make peace. If it is the neighbor you are angry about, is there any way you can find peace? That's the starting point. That's where you should start. Have a great day. Bye bye.